I'm by myself and I'm not armed today.
Stay back!
There's a footprint right here.
The Independence Day encounter. It was filmed on a day meant for celebration, barbecues, fireworks, family gatherings. But what this footage captured was something entirely different. A large figure steps into view, walking cautiously into the frame. It turns, glancing directly toward the camera, holding still for a moment. There's a tension in its stance, a nervousness, like it senses danger. Then it reaches down. In its arms, a smaller figure stirs. The creature lifts it, and the child-sized form shifts, clinging briefly, then pushing against the larger one. There's life in that movement, not staged, not robotic. The adult doesn't hesitate long. It turns and runs fast, disappearing into the distance with long, powerful strides. Some viewers claim they noticed subtle facial movements on the larger creature. Muscles tightening, features shifting, expressions forming. Skeptics point to CGI, but others, those who've spent time studying and breaking down the footage, believe this one might be different. Among the few clips labeled as possibly authentic, it remains one of the most hotly debated: the GoPro dog sighting. Sometimes it's not a person behind the camera, it's a dog. In this case, a man strapped a GoPro to his pet before letting it explore the woods. The footage begins casually. The dog trots through tall grass and scattered trees, sniffing the ground, unaware that it's about to capture something strange. Then it happens. A figure darts through the background. It moves quickly, almost too fast to process at first. But in the next few seconds, it becomes clear. This wasn't a deer or a person lost in the woods. The creature stands tall, upright on two legs, moving like a human. But its body is thick with hair, its shape closer to an ape than anything familiar. It appears only for a moment, enough to raise questions, but not enough to answer them. The albino Bigfoot. It started with strange sounds, branches snapping at night, low calls echoing through the trees. For nearly 2 weeks, the residents of Carbondale, Pennsylvania, had been on edge. Something was moving through the woods, and no one knew what. One night, a homeowner decided to investigate after hearing another disturbance in the backyard. Camera in hand, they moved cautiously through the trees. The figure behind the lens seemed panicked, breathing heavy, stumbling as if unsure what they were chasing or what might be chasing them. Then a sharp noise. They spun toward the sound, and in that instant caught something pale and massive in the frame. A large, upright figure, its fur light, its shape unmistakably out of place in the darkness. Then silence. The audio cuts. The video ends. And whatever was seen that night vanished just as quickly as it came. Sasquatch in the mountains. A couple was out hiking along a quiet logging road, high above one of the lakes near Mission, British Columbia. The view stretched wide, endless trees, rolling hills, and the kind of silence that only deep forest brings. They stopped to take pictures capturing the beauty of the landscape, but something moved on a distant ridge. At first, it was hard to see, just a shape against the tree line. Then it began to shift, walking slowly, arms swaying in long arcs. They zoomed in. What they caught was a large, hairy figure moving with purpose, its silhouette unlike anything they'd seen before. It paced, turned, even swung its arms like it was searching for something. Or maybe just passing through. Was it just a person high on the hill, a trick of distance, or did they capture something far more elusive, something that walks the line between myth and reality? The Provo Canyon encounter. A group of friends headed into Provo Canyon for a weekend of camping, just nature, tents, and a bit of quiet. The YouTuber known as Beard Card was among them, filming their trip for fun. While hiking near their site, they spotted deer on a distant slope and tried to get a closer look. That's when they saw something else. At first, it looked like a bear, but then it stood up. The moment it rose to its full height, panic set in. They turned and ran, leaving behind their gear, their tent, everything. Later, in an interview with a local news station, they admitted they still couldn't explain what they saw. Some speculated it was just someone in a costume, but the group dismissed that idea. This was hunting season, and the canyon was filled with people. No one in their right mind would be running around in a gorilla suit under those conditions. None of them were Bigfoot believers before that day. But after what they saw, they couldn't say it was a bear either. The swamp creature of Lettuce Lake Park. Matt was out for a quiet canoe trip through the waters of Lettuce Lake Park in Florida. The swamp was calm, the trees thick with shadow, the water still until something caught his eye. At first he thought it was a bear, but the arms were too long, the movement too fluid. Whatever it was, it walked with ease through the marsh, not lumbering like a bear, but stepping with purpose, balanced, confident, and massive. He kept watching. The creature moved deeper into the swamp, barely slowed by the thick water. That alone raised questions. Bears usually avoid deep swamp, and even the park ranger admitted that sightings in this area were almost unheard of. She couldn't explain what Matt had seen either. Matt never gave much thought to Florida's skunk ape legends until now. As he reviewed the footage over and over, nothing added up. The shape, the size, the way it moved, it didn't match any known animal, and if it was a person, that made even less sense. The quadrupedal sprint on Prince Edward Island. Back in 2005, a student named Nathan Wiley was out in the woods with a group of classmates on Prince Edward Island filming a video project for school. The scene was simple, just someone running from the trees as part of a planned shot. But something unscripted happened. As the student actor dashed into frame, a massive ape-like creature suddenly burst from the opposite side of the forest.
Did you see that?
It moved fast, far faster than anything they expected to catch on camera. It dropped low, sprinting on all fours, crossing the screen in a blur. The timing was perfect, too perfect for some, sparking debate about the video's authenticity. Critics pointed to the school project as a possible setup, but others, including seasoned researchers, noted something strange, something harder to fake. They explained that when startled, Sasquatch is said to drop into a four-legged sprint to gain speed. If that's true, this creature's movement fits the behavior. The Eagle Cam mystery in Michigan, a camera meant to quietly document the life of a bald eagle family, may have captured something far more unexpected. Set up by the state's Department of Natural Resources and Carbon TV, the cam was perched high in a tree near the Platte River State Fish Hatchery, not far from Traverse City. Its goal was simple: monitor the nest, observe the eaglets. But during one routine clip, something moved below. While the chicks chirped quietly in the nest, a dark figure appeared on the forest floor. It moved upright, weaving through trees and brush, walking steadily on two legs. The moment was brief, but enough to raise eyebrows. There was no announcement, no sudden noise, just a shadow slipping through the woods. Some viewers were quick to call it a person in costume. Others weren't so sure. Without a clear sense of scale or detail, the figure remains ambiguous, just out of reach of certainty. Experts have weighed in, calling the footage interesting but inconclusive. Still, the idea that something unknown passed through the background of a nature cam meant for eagles has kept people watching, wondering what might really be out there. Bigfoot hunted by helicopter. On February 17, 2011, a video appeared online with a strange title, Bigfoot hunted by helicopter. The location wasn't named, just a quiet patch of wilderness and a family outing that turned unexpectedly strange. A couple had taken their kids out for a day of target shooting, but from the start, a helicopter hovered nearby, circling above them, its presence constant and unexplained. At first, they assumed it was just curiosity, someone watching from the sky, wondering what they were doing. Later, when reviewing the footage, they saw something else.
Okay. Oh, nice.
While their son was learning to shoot, starting with a .22 rifle, then moving on to a powerful shotgun, a dark figure suddenly appeared in the background. It moved fast, low, and with purpose, slipping through the trees just after the shotgun fired. As the gun's echo faded, the black shape seemed to react, bolting upright, then dropping onto all fours as it vanished into the brush. The timing was strange. The helicopter's noise grew louder during the moment the creature appeared, leading some to believe the two events were connected. Was something in those woods being tracked? Some viewers remain skeptical, suggesting the blast may have simply been a signal for someone to start running in costume. But others point to the movement, the shift from 2 legs to 4, as something not easily faked, and maybe being hunted. The Utah Bigfoot family. On January 3, 2011, a man named Johnny took his kids and some friends deep into the Utah mountains for a day of sledding and hiking. Snow blanketed the ground, the air was clear, and the trip felt ordinary until Johnny reviewed the footage later. What he found wasn't just one sighting, but 3 separate moments that, according to him, revealed an entire family of Sasquatch.
Look out, John! Nice.
In the first clip, a large figure moves through the trees, turning away and disappearing into the forest. It's distant, but unmistakably upright and broad. The second shows another figure, this one standing still, watching from the trees before fading back into cover. The third is the most unusual. A creature appears to struggle as it tries to flee, limbs swinging with urgency. Johnny suggested it might have been injured, caught out in the open and unsure how to escape. But its speed and form matched other reported Bigfoot movements. When scared or threatened, some say a full-grown Sasquatch will drop to all fours to move faster through rough terrain. That's exactly what this one seems to do. Low to the ground, fast, powerful. Skeptics point to the fact that the footage was posted in 3 separate videos. To them, it could be staged, just part of a well-timed hoax. But others believe these clips might show something more, a group of creatures not just passing through but living in the wilderness close enough to be seen. The Hillside sprint in California. A short clip with no clear origin, just a camera pointed at a steep slope somewhere in California and something moving fast. The figure is large and orange-toned, barreling down the hillside with long strides. It moves like it has a purpose, either heading towards something or fleeing from it. At one point, it grabs a small sapling, using it to steady or guide itself as it runs. The footage has stirred mixed reactions. Some viewers point to the motion. The arms, for instance, hardly move the way you'd expect from a creature that size. To them, that's a red flag, a possible giveaway of someone in a suit. But others aren't so sure. The size is hard to ignore. It's not just tall, it's broad, powerful looking, and moving across rough terrain at a speed that would be difficult to fake. With no backstory and no clear location, the video remains a mystery, a possible hoax, or a moment of something unexplainable. The Beast of Gum Hill. On April 5th, 2009, a YouTuber known as Ericus Maximus was out riding his ATV, something he did often, sharing clips of his trail runs through rugged backcountry. But this ride turned into something else entirely. While crossing a shallow creek, the camera caught movement ahead.
What was that?
A tall figure walked across the creek bed not far from the trail, its shape and stride unlike anything else in the woods. This wasn't the first time he had seen it. According to the description, this marked his second encounter with what he called the Beast of Gum Hill, a creature local to the area, rarely seen and spoken about in hushed tones. The only known image before this had been a still photo taken back in the 1980s. Now, decades later, it had been captured on video, moving calmly, steadily, through the same hills where it was first rumored to exist. The Dearborn Trail Cam and the Yowie of Kilcoy. In the woods near Dearborn, Michigan, a local hunter set up a trail cam hoping to catch footage of passing wildlife. But what he found instead left him unsettled. 3 consecutive night shots show a massive figure moving left to right through the trees. This wasn't a trick of light or a camera glitch. The creature appears slightly hunched in the first frame, broad-shouldered, narrowing at the waist. Its shape is more human than animal, yet far too large to be an ordinary person. As it moves closer, the figure grows more distinct, its back wide, head large, and body covered in what looks like dense, dark fur. The scale, compared to nearby trees, suggests it was well over average height. A fleeting moment captured in silence, but just long enough to suggest something real may have passed through. Thousands of miles away, deep in the Queensland bush of Australia, another kind of mystery was unfolding. Glenn and a companion were hiking near Kilcoy when they came across a collapsed tent near a creek. A heavy log had been placed across it, as if sending a message. Don't camp here. This spot Glenn believed was active Yowie territory. He had filmed before in the area, claiming to capture figures he believed could be up to 3 Yowie, Australia's version of Bigfoot. Some of the tracks found nearby even appeared to show 6 toes. In one clip, a large figure looms near a rock, visible only for seconds before slipping into the underbrush. Later, a second, smaller figure emerges briefly behind the same spot Glenn returned and stood next to the tree where the creature had appeared. The comparison photo showed something had stood there almost twice his height.
Yeah, did you see the big tree break over there? It was a good snap.
Careful review of the footage later revealed something else. Off to the side, hidden in the trees, was a crouching figure, its gray face barely visible, an arm stretched outward as if reaching or observing. And in another video from deep in a North American forest, a tall, muscular figure walks slowly through the trees. It doesn't just pass by. It crouches, searches the forest floor, and pulls at low branches, almost as if foraging. Its arms hang long and swing naturally, its posture unlike that of a human. It's not the clearest footage ever recorded, but the combination of size, motion, and behavior has made many wonder. Was this Bigfoot caught not in a moment of panic but in its own world, acting like any creature simply trying to survive? The Missouri Trail Cam mystery. In August, on a quiet farm tucked deep in rural Missouri, a trail camera caught something its owner still can't explain. The camera wasn't even set up for wildlife. After summer floods swept away a kayak, the landowner installed it to monitor water levels in the creek. Most of the images it sent were ordinary, branches swaying, leaves drifting, nothing unusual, until one afternoon.
This is the shoreline. And this is the entire area around. As you can see, it's a giant tree right here and about an 8-foot cliff. So it'd be very difficult for someone to jump down or jump up.
While sitting down for lunch with his wife, his phone buzzed. Another alert. Expecting more of the same, he tapped the app, then froze. There, standing in the middle of the creek, was a towering figure, upright, massive, staring directly at the lens. Covered in dark brown and black tones, it looked nothing like a person. Before he could switch to the live feed, the figure was gone. Hours later, he and his brother returned to the scene. They found no tracks. The creek bed was all loose gravel, too soft to leave behind prints. The banks around the water were steep, with an 8-foot drop near the spot where the figure had stood. Not the kind of place someone could easily climb in or out of. They ran a test. The brother, standing about 6 feet tall, posed in the same exact spot for comparison. The difference was undeniable.
And then this is directly above. Just so you can kind of get a view of the geography here. And then this is directly below. As you can see, I'm about a foot into the water here. This is exactly where he was standing. It's the exact spot. We came back and we're a few feet forward from where we were in the other picture. So we tried to get in the exact spot.
The creature in the photo was at least several feet taller and 2 to 3 times wider. 2 days later, they repeated the experiment. Same camera, same angle, same time of day. But the original image still stood apart, larger, darker, more unnatural than anything else they could replicate. For years, locals in the area had whispered about strange howls echoing through the woods. The landowner had always assumed coyotes, but after seeing that image, he wasn't so sure anymore. And here's the part that lingers. The creature didn't even trigger the photo. It was a gust of wind, just enough to stir the leaves, that caused the camera to fire. Without that stroke of luck, the figure might have passed unnoticed. So what was it that appeared in that quiet Missouri creek? A trick of the light or a glimpse of something that rarely allows itself to be seen. The train window sighting in Colorado. It was meant to be a peaceful anniversary getaway. Stetson and Shannon Parker were celebrating 10 years together, riding a scenic train between Silverton and Durango in southwest Colorado. But what they saw out that window would turn their quiet trip into something far more mysterious.
An elusive creature. Alright, just squat it down. Yeah, let me see your camera, I'll do it.
As the train moved along the tracks, winding past the mountains, something caught their eye. A tall, dark figure weaving through the brush. It didn't walk casually. It moved with purpose, then suddenly crouched, almost vanishing into the landscape. Shannon grabbed her phone. Her husband did the same. Their son, watching beside them, was the first to speak up. He thought it looked like Bigfoot. The footage, later shared online, shows a creature matching classic descriptions. Tall, broad, covered in dark hair. Even from a distance, it appeared to blend into its surroundings, with a kind of practiced stealth, squatting low as if trying not to be seen. Skeptics were quick to argue it might just be a person in a costume, but those on the train insisted otherwise. They described the figure as far larger than any ordinary human, close to 7 feet or more, moving with weight and speed that didn't seem staged. Shannon later told reporters that before this trip, they didn't give Bigfoot much thought. Now they're convinced. She managed to snap several still photos, adding more layers to the evidence. Images, video, and first-hand accounts all captured from the moving train. Later, a second encounter surfaced. While hiking alone, another man noticed movement in the treetops. He zoomed in, thinking at first it was nothing, but as he focused, he caught a glimpse of something small hunched among the branches. It wasn't easy to see, partially hidden by leaves, blurred by distance, but its posture and shape made him pause. The trail cam mystery in New York. It began with a single photo taken deep in the woods of upstate New York. A trail camera had been placed in the remote forest to monitor local wildlife for weeks. It captured the usual: deer, raccoons, the occasional coyote. Then on June 30th, 2015, something strange appeared. The image shows a small, dark figure, hunched over, humanoid in shape, but off somehow. Its head isn't visible, obscured by angle or posture, but one feature jumps out immediately: the feet, massive, out of proportion to the rest of its body, and far larger than what you'd expect from something that size. Some believe it could be a juvenile Bigfoot. According to long-standing accounts, not all sightings involve towering creatures. Some are smaller, faster, younger, and this figure seemed to match that description. For years, the image sat unnoticed, until a newer, eerily similar photo surfaced nearby. Same kind of figure, same woods, same mystery. It reignited interest in the original shot and raised a bigger question. Could something be moving through the forests of New York largely undetected? While the state might not be the first place that comes to mind when thinking of Bigfoot, it has a long history of strange reports. Early settlers in the region spoke of massive tracks in the snow, strange howls in the night, and dark shapes vanishing into the trees. Skeptics argue that the figure might be something else entirely, perhaps even tied to dogman legends with their own roots in regional folklore. But for those who've seen the images, the question remains: what kind of creature has feet that large, a posture that unusual, and still leaves behind no trace but a single frame in the middle of the forest? The Canyon Shadow in Utah. It started as a peaceful hike through Utah's Packing Canyon. A man wandered the trails, surrounded by silence and towering pines, camera in hand, just enjoying the stillness of the forest. Then something shifted. His lens caught movement, a large, shadowy figure slipping through the trees ahead. It moved fast and low, its body posture resembling that of a gorilla. But gorillas don't live in Utah. Curious and cautious, he followed. As he zoomed in, the creature seemed to turn, as if sensing it was being watched. Then, just as quickly, it vanished, disappearing into the dense undergrowth without a sound. Locals have whispered about strange shapes and echoes in these canyons for years. Most dismissed them as legend. But this time, there was proof. Fleeting, distant, unclear, but enough to raise the question once again. The skunk ape of the Everglades. This sighting didn't come from the mountains or the forests of the Pacific Northwest, but from deep in the wetlands of Florida. Often called the southern cousin of Bigfoot, the skunk ape is a legendary creature said to roam the swamps and sawgrass of the Everglades. And in one recent encounter, a man exploring the area caught something strange on camera. The video, later shared online, shows a large, dark figure moving steadily across an open field. It walks upright, tall and broad, and seems to carry something on its back, possibly even a walking stick. From a distance, the figure is hard to define. Skeptics argue it's likely just a hiker, someone with a heavy backpack, using a stick for balance, and they may be right. The clip is distant, the details blurry, and the lighting unclear. But even if this particular sighting turns out to be a misidentification, the legend behind it still holds weight. If you've made it this far, you're probably like us, searching for answers in the unexplained. So why not stick around? Hit like if any of these sightings made you think twice. Subscribe if you're ready for more unsettling footage, strange encounters, and the stories that come with them. And if you've seen something, anything you couldn't explain, let us know in the comments. Because sometimes the truth doesn't hide in the shadows. It walks right past the lens.